Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. In today's exciting episode, I make a golden satin jacket. It's very pretty, isn't it? I didn't think it was going to be this pretty.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
Oh, it's the gold sequin jacket. Anyway, I am using Simplicity 9124. I think it's jacket A. And I've made quite a few tweaks. So this is the one that's most resembling the pattern. And then I tweaked it quite a bit to make the daisy jacket. And then I just totally beaded it all over with sequins. And then the next one was the lobster jacket. And I tweaked it again. So now we are up to the golden one, and it's got goldfish on there. So it's the golden goldfish jacket. Wow. I'm very excited by this. It's so much prettier than I thought it would be. Anyway, so that is the jacket that I made, and now I shall show you how I made it. It's a pretty simple pattern, the Simplicity 9124. It has a front from the left. It goes front, back, cut on the fold, and the sleeves. So this is the front, left and right, obviously. I'm not sure why I felt the need to show you a separate piece. But anyway, this is the back. So it's cut on the fold. And I've curved it, I've cropped the back, so the back is much shorter than the front, and it's curved up. I think in the next jacket I make, I'm gonna bring the back down again. I got a bit too carried away with that, but I do like the neckline at the back more. And with the sleeves, the lobster one, the sleeves were a lot shorter and more tailored. They're big and kimono-like for this one. So anyway, I have cut out the fabric for the outer jacket, which is going to be the satin. Now we need a structural layer because I'm going to bead this and it needs to carry the weight of the beads. So then I use the net or netting, and I cut out another set of all the pieces, and then it's also going to be lined. So I've got this synthetic fabric. It's mustard, a goldeny mustard color with white roses on it, or gardenias, and that is my lining. So the same again with the lining, you just turn it up a few millimeters more. So all the pieces are the same size, but you just turn it up a few millimeters more. So now we're going to actually construct the jacket. So first you have to pin the structural layer, the netting, and the outer fabric together. So the two bits are pinned together, and then you have to do the same for the two front pieces. Pin the outer fabric to the netting. Okay, so now they're pinned together. You can see the pins on the edge there. So now it's time to pin the two front pieces to the back piece. So you lay the back piece down, right side up, and then you just attach them. Only at the shoulders we're attaching them at the moment. So you do one side first, then the other, because it's sort of, otherwise it'll be they sort of cross over at the front. So yeah, it's easier to do one completely, then do the other one. So now it is time that one's ready to machine sew, but we also have to do the lining. So once again, you just lay down the back piece, right side up, and then you pin the two fronts to it right side down, so the right sides are towards each other. Then you machine sew them and you splay open the seams and hand stitch them down. You want to hand stitch them invisibly so that you see the stitches on the inside but not the outside. So this is what the jacket looks like now. Next step is to get the sleeves, and you want to make sure you have the backs together and the fronts together, and you want to pin the structural layer to the outer fabric so you can work with it as one bit. Now, before we pin the sleeves onto the torso of the jacket, it's just easier if I machine sew around three sides of them, because I'm going to half make the jacket, then bead it, then hand stitch it together. And also the lining, there's one side along the sleeve, the cuff side of the sleeve. It's easier if I just machine sew that, so that I know where to turn my hem up. So I did all that machine sewing. You don't have to. I'm just doing it because of the particular way that I'm making this jacket. So now it is time to attach the sleeves. So the sleeve has a notch that tells you where the center, the shoulder seam is. So you match up your center seam notch with the shoulder seam, and then you pin to the forward and you pin backwards, and then once you've done one side you do the other side. It's just the jacket looks like it's a weird angle, so it's much easier to do one whole sleeve than the other whole sleeve. And then of course you do the same thing with the lining, and once that is all done, now it is time to delicately fold them up and take them over to the sewing machine and sew them. Ta-da! The sleeves are now attached. So with the outer jacket, as I said, I didn't machine sew the seam under the arms or down the side, because I want to leave it open and flat so I can bead on it really easily. But I did sew up the underarm seam and the side seam on the lining, because I just moved the lining out of the way to do the beading on the outer jacket. So now I just fold up the seam allowance for the cuffs on the outer jacket and the underarm and the side seams, so that I'll just have to hand stitch them together in the end, but all the raw seams are out of the way. And with the lining, I also had to hand stitch them. So the next step is to sew the lining and the outer jacket together along the center front seams and around the neckline. So you put the right sides facing each other, and then you carefully pin them together. Because the outer jacket is butterflied, so it's still completely flat, and the lining is made completely, it's a little bit of a juggle, but I got there. And then I machine sewed it, and then the neckline is curved, so you have to clip the curve, and you also have to cut the corners off the front center, so that when you turn the jacket out, the corners will turn correctly. So then I did a load of hand sewing that I hadn't done previously, because this was the last time I could do it. And then eventually I turned it out, and I haven't actually stitched the side seams and the underarm seams together, but I have put some pins, safety pins in there, so that you can see what the jacket is going to look like. I've left them open because I want to bead. But yeah, and I've also pinned the lining into place so you can see what it looks like. But I'm going to have to weigh down the sleeves. There we go. I pinned a bead on either side inside the sleeves. You'll see it when I turn it to the side. But it's such a pretty colour. It's such a deep, vibrant golden colour. You can't really see the patterns that are woven into the threads. But anyway, I really like this. So I made quite a few tweaks. So the last one, the most recent one, was the Lobster one, which is directly to the left there. And as you can see, it doesn't meet in the middle. It's very cropped and more bolero-like. And I sort of brought this one back so that it almost entirely meets in the middle. I like that. I changed the neckline as well, and of course these sleeves are a lot longer. I like the length of the sleeves, but I don't necessarily like the fullness on the inside of the sleeve. There's a lot of flapping about because I'm going to bead it all. I think I like the way the Lobster jacket sleeve sort of has less excess fabric under the elbow. So I might change that. And yeah, I like this, but I think I'll make it square again in the next one, the front side. And the back, I like this back, but I don't know. I think I've gone too far with the cropped backs. I think I'll bring the next jacket I make, I'll bring it down. And also, yeah, the sleeves are very long, aren't they? Maybe I'll bring down the back of the next jacket so that it's not quite so cropped and not quite so curved, and maybe that will balance out the sleeves. I do like this back, but I just feel like kimono sleeves and that almost Regency back, they don't mesh well. I mean, I like this jacket, but yeah, I think because I want to make loads, I tend to just like want to get a pattern that I want to make a million times. Anyway, these are my bead samples, and it's going to be little flowers. It's going to be a yellow flower, and then it's going to be a golden one on the inside. I was just going to use the golden one, but then I put the yellow underneath it, and it just makes the gold fabric look more gold, and it makes the gold flower bead sequin look more gold as well. So that's why I don't particularly like yellow and gold together. But I don't know, there's something very Gucci about it. So I'm going to do it. Anyway, so there we go. I made my jacket. I'm not going to bead it for a while. I've got some vintage boleros and jackets to make next, so I will finally get around to them. And then once I get a few of those done, I'll have, time to do some beading. I am looking forward to beading this one, but it's just going to take a little bit long, and I don't have that much time at the moment. So anyway, that is it for this episode. I made myself a golden goldfish jacket. You can't really see the goldfish. Oh, you sort of can. But hopefully when I add the sequin, because I'm going to do the beading sort of everywhere but on the goldfish, so hopefully that will draw them out and make them a little more visible. Who knows? I mean, the lobster jacket doesn't look like it has lobsters on it anymore, unless you know what you're looking at, so we shall see. Anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you've been inspired to use some satin fabric. I can't remember the last time I used satin fabric. It's so pretty and vibrant. I love it. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and happy sewing.